Hello once again. I welcome you to Marriage Without Tears channel. This is your ultimate channel for couples that want to make a difference in their marriage. Here you will learn all the necessary skills and resources to improve your marriage and make it more enriching as the years go by. So I welcome you. My viewers, my subscribers, my newcomers, you are all welcome. If you are yet to subscribe, please do so. We want to be one big family. Tonight on Marriage Without Tears channel, we are discussing an issue: how to save your marriage while separated. I discover over a period of time that most people don't serve divorce notice to their spouses while they are yet living together. They must have faced a whole lot of challenges that at a point it becomes difficult for them to continue. One party may decide to leave the house. In most cases, especially in African nations, it is usually the woman that packs her things and leave the home. But she's not divorced yet. She just leaves the home. And the man is there in the house, not knowing what to do. Between the time the woman left the house and the time of proper divorce, we call it a period of separation. So while you are separated, there are still things you can do to get your marriage back, to preserve your marriage. Most separations, or all separations rather, doesn't need to necessarily end in a divorce. Some separations have led to the couple having quality and very enriching marriages as the years go by. So I want you to just pay ultimate attention. I want you to know that during the process of separation, it is a good time for you to sit back. It's a period of introspection, a period of deep meditation. You need to check yourself, do an internal audit of yourself and the circumstances surrounding your marriage and circumstances surrounding your separation. Because most couples do the blame game, especially when you meet couples that are in conflict. It's always the blame game. They seem to know what went wrong in their partner, but they never look onto themselves. But I want you to know that before a separation happens, or before there are serious disagreements that lead to that kind of separation, there must have been things you contributed knowingly or unknowingly that led to the position where you are now. This is the time to sit back, and the only person that can tell him or herself the honest truth is yourself. You sit back, weigh the circumstances you are facing, and see where you defaulted. See the areas where you messed up, quote and unquote. See what you needed to do, which you didn't do. See the virtues and some of the emotional, physical, and even mental investments you could have made in your union, which you failed to do. And this lack of investments are what led to where you are right now. It's not a time to start looking at your spouse or trying to check what your spouse did wrong. No, it is a time to find out what you did wrong. Because no matter how you look at it, there are areas where you didn't actually harness all the qualities at your disposal to improve your union. If you are finding it difficult to discover where you have failed, I suggest that you look for a counselor where you can open up and tell the counselor or somebody that you trust his or her marriage, a quality couple, possibly an older couple, that you can afford to unbutton or unload whatever has happened in your marriage. And that person can look critically at you and be able to tell you honestly where you erred. You need that at this point in time. That is one of the things you must do. The second thing you need to do is to open an honest and quality communication with your spouse. And what do I mean by that? Even though you have parted, if you still are on talking terms, I want you to know that, your life together is like, let me just give you an instance. If you bring a bottle of Coca-Cola and then a bottle of Fanta, and you pour their contents in one glass, or both mineral, both soft drinks, you pour them into the same glass and they mix up. If you desire to separate them again, it is difficult for you to separate those drinks again. It is difficult for you to get Coca-Cola the same way Coca-Cola was. They have mixed. That is what marriage is all about. The moment you are married and you are married over a season, 1 year, 5 years, 10 years down the line, it will never be the same. So I encourage you, even though you are separated, find a way to develop a quality communication with your spouse. Still call one another. And when you do, please don't lay emphasis on grievances. No, don't lay emphasis on grievances. Don't begin to talk issues that degenerated in your marriage, because it will only lead to a sad conversation. Don't go into blame games. The more you blame one another, the more the person you are blaming becomes defensive. And the moment the person becomes defensive, you will never achieve the desired result. Learn the habit of listening attentively to one another. Know what one another is feeling. The reason why you are in this position you are now is because you have not learned to actually listen. If you know how to listen, take for instance, in the days when you met, the greatest quality you both had was the capacity to listen to one another. You can afford to sit back and let your lovers talk and talk and talk, and you will be enjoying that discussion. But these days, one word from him or one word from her, there's a spark that goes up in your head. So learn how to calmly listen to him or listen to her. Listen to your partner. Understand where the shoe is pinching him or her. If you can only do that, I can tell you that gradually you begin to understand what went wrong in your marriage in the first place. Like I said, all separation cases doesn't need to end in a divorce. You can always bring that marriage back together again. If you are yet to subscribe to my channel, please, I encourage you to subscribe by clicking this red button. Click this red button, get subscribed to the channel, become part of the Marriage Without Fear, become part of Marriage Without Tears family. I would love to have you. When you communicate effectively, understanding, joy, laughter comes in, because there is this thing that flows in when I know that my spouse have understood my viewpoint, or when I realize that my perspective have gone down well with her. She can now appreciate my position without making or using acerbic words or without criticizing me. So if you listen attentively, understanding, joy, it comes in, and what follows is harmony. And then you begin to understand where you failed in the first place. It is very, very important at this point. The third thing you need to do while separated from your spouse is to focus on self-development. Try to know what you need to develop about yourself. The more developed you are as an individual, the better it is as you go back to that relationship. If there are things that you lack understanding, try to find out those things and try to understand them better before you hook back to your spouse again. If there are areas where you feel challenged, try to seek information in that area. And it also goes back to reading quality books on marriage and family relationship. Try to watch videos on marriage and family relationship. Try to attend seminars. Try to get connected to a counselor, somebody that can, impart you with the knowledge, with the kind of information that will lead to a proactive and joyful married life. Try to find out. If you have an older spouse, try to learn from them. But in all cases, try to improve on yourself. Try to improve on yourself. Don't ever get yourself attached to the singles, because the moment you get attached to yourself to the singles, you lose contact. You lose what it is to actually be married. You begin to think like them. No, you are a married woman. You are a married man. Find out how to tidy up every loose end in your marriage and get back again. It is very important. Break away from every unholy alliance, especially the kind of alliances, the kind of fellowships, the kind of people or friends that may lead you astray. Because as you are separated now, there's a tendency for people to begin to seek your friendship. It could be singles. It could also be married people. But in all cases, make sure that the people you are moving about with are people that are disciplined enough to understand what marriage is. Because if you get yourself mixed up with people who don't have value for home, who don't have value for marital life, I can tell you that over a period of time you begin to think like them. And at the end of the day, your separation may lead into a divorce. So Get yourself hooked up with people who know the value of marriage and family life. People who can give you honest and quality advice on how to run your home is very important. Anytime you want to talk to your spouse from now henceforth, I want you to begin to, from the point of some memories which you have shared in the past. There are some sweet memories that you have shared in the past. You know, there are things you can recollect. There are things you can say, and the person will think back. And in thinking back, all the joys and all the positive areas of your relationship will begin to come to him or her. So reflect on the quality memories you have shared together. It's very important. If you must gather your relationship back, it's very important. Another thing you also need to do is begin to look at some of the visions you people had. You know, as husband and wife, you must have thought at a particular point in time how you are going to raise Junior, how you are going to send this one abroad, how you are going to make sure that this one goes to school, the kind of education, the kind of profession you want your children to, to do in the future, the kind of preparations you were making to have quality family life. Begin to recollect all those things. Begin to tell your spouse some of those things. Bring her back to the intention you had when this marriage kicked off. It's very important. And in doing that, begin to also talk about your visions. Begin to look at your visions for the next 5 years, for the next 10 years. These are discussions you should be having. If you begin to think in that term and you begin to relate in that term, I can tell you that the urge to come back together again and ensure that that vision gets realized, it will come back to you. I can tell you that. So always remember the fun times you had. Remember the visions you had. Remember the ideas you shared. Remember the great things you had in mind when you took off. Begin to look at those things. Don't ever talk about the ugliness of the past. No. Internally by yourselves, you are working on the ugly side of it. But what you should be talking about to your spouse that you want him or her to get back is the good times that you share together and the good times you hope sharing together in future. Those are the things you must be talking about. Talk about your children. Talk about the challenges your children are having and how you wish and how you pray that your spouse will come back together so that you see that those challenges are kicked out. Tell your spouse some of the challenges your children are having because of your separation. That alone is an added, it will add a whole lot of impetus to your spouse to think in terms of coming back. These are things you do if you actually want your marriage to get back on the saddle. Finally, you must create a vision for a renewed relationship. What do I mean by that? I mean, you are now thinking of coming back together. It must be coming back together to enter into the glorious years of your life. Now you have faced the odds, you have faced the challenges, you have done all manner of things, you have separated, but as you are coming back now, is a renewed vigor to enter into the glorious years of your marriage. And what you start thinking in terms is the vision you must pursue when you come back together. You must begin to think in terms of what you need to do for yourselves, for your family, for the society, how you need to get engaged in the marriage once again, how you need to ensure that your marriage meets target, or ensure that it even exceeds the target. Because now you have faced the odds, you have crumbled to the ground. It is time to rise up like a phoenix. It is time also to know how to engineer your relationship to meet set target. So you begin to think in terms of, where do we go from here? Sweetheart, where do we go from here? We have faced this challenge. It has brought us down. But since we have decided to rise again, where do we go from here? You must think in that term. You must think in terms of, darling, what is the next step? What do we need to change? What are those things that we did before, that we did wrongly, that we need to change? We need to change them so that we don't experience the same discomfort, the same challenge over and over again. You must think in that way. What can we set as a realistic expectation as the years go by? What do we expect? How do we fight for those expectations to become real? You must begin to think in that term. Very, very important. You must also ask your spouse, are there things we need to do in order to engage ourselves and guarantee a more effective relationship as the years go by? These are questions you ask. These are things you do. And as you begin to do them, I can tell you that the eagerness, the urge to come back together again, united as one, and pursue common goals, it will come to you as partners in a marriage. I thank you for having time and taking out time to listen to this very edition. Please, if you are yet to subscribe to my channel, do so immediately. And if there are things, look at this red button, just click on it and just subscribe. If there are things that you didn't agree with, or you need further information concerning this edition, please, I would appreciate to have your comments in the comment section below. Just comment on it. It will be my pleasure to give you an answer. God bless you and have a wonderful time.